I'm Irving, and I have no life, just like you.
The Ballad of Irving. Irving. Big fat Irving. Big sport Irving. The 142nd fastest gun in the West.
On the heels of the awesomeness that is Halo Reach, we got Halo 4, which finally brings us back to what happened to Master Chief. As you may or may not remember, since it's been so many games ago, Master Chief and the Arbiter destroyed the newly built replacement Halo along with the Ark that built it by firing it prematurely. They managed to escape in a frigate that somehow got torn in two during a hyperspace jump. The Arbiter's half made it back to Earth space, Master Chief's half didn't. The last we saw, he went into stasis and left Cortana staring at him. I still want to punch him for that. Although if I did, it'd probably look like this.
You brute, you brute, you brute, you vicious brute! Alright.
So I popped it in and fired up the game, but all it'd give me was two-player option. I popped it out and popped it back in. Same deal. But I didn't want to do two-player, I wanted to do single-player. Is that not an option anymore? Well, I discovered that if I wanted to play single player, every other controller in the house had to sign out. If two were signed in, even if one of them was turned off, the game would only let me start a co-op campaign. Stupid! I know a lot of games are starting to do this. Stop it! All it does is remove another level of control from the player. We use wireless controllers in this household, but suppose we didn't. If we wanted to keep two controllers plugged in and signed in at the same time, what business is it of theirs? This is ridiculous. It's trying to force something and there's no need for it. So game developers, stop it. Right now. Or you go to bed without supper. Wait, most of you do that anyway. This is going to require some thought.
Tell me about the children.
Wow, look at the skin texture. This is a huge leap in the graphics already. Impressive. And she's gotten old since Master Chief and the other Spartans rescued her from that Covenant ship in Halo Legends.
Dr. Halsey.
You already know everything.
You kidnapped them.
Children's minds are more easily accepting of indoctrination. Their bodies more adaptable to augmentation. The result was the ultimate soldier. And because of our success, when the Covenant invaded, we were ready.
Yeah, that's why they weren't able to take Reach, right? I'm not sure there's room in her head for all that ego.
Dr. Halsey, you're bending history for your own favor, and you know it. You developed the Spartans to crush human rebellion, not to fight the Covenant.
When one human world after another fell, when my Spartans were all that stood between humanity and extinction, nobody was concerned about why they were originally built.
So you feel in the end your choices were justified.
My work saved the human race.
Most interesting. The project was originally to control people? For whom? And why? And now I know there's not enough room in her head for both that ego and her uncanny ability to rationalize. I'm starting to think I don't like Dr. Halsey.
Do you think the Spartans' lack of basic humanity helped?
What are you after? The others before you were naval intelligence, but you're something else.
Whoever this guy is, he wants to replace Master Chief because he's convinced the Chief is dead. Halsey tells him not to underestimate Spartans in general, and John in particular. Then we switch scenes. They've been drifting for 4 years. I wonder how many games of solitaire Cortana's played. She's more beautiful than ever. But I also noticed that she doesn't have the textured skin like Halsey did. So she's gorgeous and sexy, but she looks like a computer-generated image. Very nice touch. How long is this opening cutscene? I ate an entire bowl of cereal while I waited for it to finish. Cutscenes have always been pretty long in the Halo series, but that seems like a bit much to me. I get what we're doing, but it would have been nice to break some of that up and scatter it throughout the first mission so we don't go so long without anything to do. Cortana detects that something weird has happened and wakes the Chief up.
Wake up, Chief. I need you.
The Halsey bit could have been given to us piecemeal as Master Chief is preparing to fight off the first wave of boarders. We're setting up the story, yeah, but this setup could have been directed a lot better. Wow, that print is really small. But I know from the last game that I used the right bumper to do things. Except not anymore. Now it's the X button. Remember that or you'll end up doing a lot of this. So through both Halo and Halo 2, I got used to the X button being my action button. But in Halo 3 and ODST, I got thoroughly accustomed to the right bumper being my action button. Now we're back to the X button. What is going on here? Okay, developers, I have another directive for you. Make up my mind! Whatever you decide to do, for pity's sake, do it consistently. We're not exactly off to the most auspicious start. Remember how I said all other controllers had to be signed out to play a solo game? Well, our other one was signed in because at the same time I was doing this solo game you're seeing, daughter Natornia and I were doing a co-op game. Now, if you're expecting something cool like Halo 3 where there's two different characters, forget it. We're back to duplicate Master Chiefs. Or is that Chiefs? No, Chiefs is the past tense of chives. Wait, what? Oh, right. The split-screen co-op is just like it was in the first two games, where you each play a clone of Master Chief. Both have the same abilities, and everything else in the outside world only interacts with one of you. In a lot of ways so far, this is a giant step backward. You crawl out of your pod and pick up your favorite girl.
We've got intrusion alerts lighting up on multiple decks.
We have a window on our display where we can see her as well as hear her. Nice! If a little distracting because she is just so... let's go. We find that the ship is full of Covenant and they're hostile. Why? No time to ponder that right now. You have to fight through them. They brought some new weapons with them. This one's called a storm rifle. Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5. My assault rifle seems to do just as well, and it's reloadable. You open the ship's blast shields to see what you're dealing with.
The good news is these Covenant aren't outfitted like standard military. It's possible we just came across a rogue salvage ship. Or we might have stumbled into an entire Covenant fleet.
The only real defense you have is a missile battery on the outside of the ship, and of course it has to be fired manually. So the objective is to get to it. Along the way, I found another new weapon. Concussion rifle. Seems to pack a pretty good punch. In more ways than one! We seem to be in orbit around an artificial planet or moon, and after we repel a Covenant invasion, something from the surface creates a gravity well that sucks us and what's left of the ship into its vortex. I wonder which one of those meteors is me. On the ground, it's time for a little confrontation. It's clear there's something wrong with Cortana, even though she insists she's fine. But she can't lie to Master Chief.
I was put into service 8 years ago.
8 years?
AIs deteriorate after 7, Chief.
Halsey,
Chief.
we need to find Halsey.
Chief, please.
She made you. She can fix you.
I won't recover from rampancy, Chief.
If we can just get back to Earth and find Halsey, she can fix this.
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.
So we have our basic premise. Cortana is deteriorating, and the Chief has to get her back to Earth to Professor Halsey, the woman we saw at the beginning who created the Spartan program and apparently created the AIs who love them. At the very least, we know from what we saw in Reach that she made Cortana and should be able to fix her. So with that established,
Let the battle begin!
the immediate goal is to find a ship that survived that mess so we have a way home. You wander around as if you have a clue what you're doing for a while, then Cortana points out a crevice and you actually know which way to go for a while.
Warthogs, and still in one piece. Nice to see your luck is holding out.
I'm telling you, they need to build everything out of whatever these warthogs are made of. They're indestructible. As you're driving, Cortana opens up about her condition and why the Chief's plan of getting her back to Earth might actually work.
Well, as far as I know, I'm the only AI ever generated from living tissue. A clone of Dr. Halsey, to be precise. It may be possible to recompile my neural net by replicating those same conditions. But that means getting back to Halsey soon.
She's a clone of Halsey, except without the nastiness and superiority complex. Cortana's story just keeps getting better and better. If we begin at Reach, she started life as a firefly in a jar, a firefly with all the knowledge of the known universe under her hat. When she got transferred to a chip, she apparently lost a buttload of that knowledge and had to reacquire it on Halo. Now she's dying of old age, but since she just happens to be made out of cloned tissue from Dr. Halsey, it's possible to reverse the process.
That's pretty hard to believe.
Since it was just me and the warthog, when I needed to use the gun, I had to stop and get out. What was that jackal made of? That one burst included 4 direct headshots under its chin. Jaw. Whatever it is. And it still got back up? Okay, that works. But still. Fight on and you pick up an active camouflage unit. You also meet some sentinels, but they don't appear to be a threat. For now. Somewhere in the course of the level, this happened. I don't know what I did to trigger that, but I like it. Cortana keeps picking up a signal from a ship called Infinity. Best she can gather, they got the distress signal she's been sending ever since they got lost, and they're looking for her. So she brings you to a cartographer that's supposed to tell you where the signal is coming from. Only trouble is, after you go through a bunch of gyrations to activate it, the silly thing tells you that the signal is coming from the center of the planet. Cortana locates a terminus that should give you a way into the core of the planet, so you start off toward that spot. There's lots of Covenant in the way, including a couple of Banshees. Unfortunately, out here in the boonies, they're reduced to using student pilots. After I cleared out a bunch more foot soldiers, I grabbed a Banshee of my own. Meanwhile, student pilot had gotten himself stuck in the doorway, so I figured it was up to me to get him unstuck. Hey, you have your way, I have mine. One thing that happens to me a lot is running out of ammo. At this particular moment, both of my weapons were empty and the screen was telling me to scavenge weapons from the battlefield. One of the easiest ways to do that is to go up and bash a grunt, then pick up his plasma pistol. Simple, right? Wait. The prompt was there, but I overran it. I should have been able to just back up and get it back, but I looked around and the weapon wasn't there. What happened to it? Well, there's 2 more grunts to get one from. His did the same thing. The prompt was there, but before I could hit the button, it went away, and now the weapon is gone. What's going on here? You saw that, right? 3 times in a row, I punched out a grunt and his weapon vanished before I could pick it up. 3 times! But it's worse than that, because if you were watching closely, you saw that the bodies also disappeared. Seriously, we're back to that crap? How am I supposed to scavenge a weapon when they go poof as quick as I take down their owner? The worst part is, this has been happening all through the game. So either this is a new feature that they're not telling us about, or this game has some serious problems that should have been caught during testing. And it just kept happening. What I discovered was, if I looked away from the weapon or it otherwise left my field of view, it disappeared. Likewise for the bodies. That was the how. What I still don't get is why. This is just sloppy. And I've worked as a game tester, and this is just the sort of thing that good testing rounds would be looking for in a Halo game, because this is not Halo quality. I almost gave up on the game right there. But between thinking about what I paid for it, plus the fact that reviewing the entire series is kind of my thing, I persevered. So that means if I have to suffer, so do you. Inside the terminus, Cortana discovers that there's a whole transport system in this place, and just as a bunch of nasty-looking aliens start appearing, she opens a portal. The Chief grabs her and jumps in. You come out who knows where, and Cortana explains that those things were some kind of advanced defensive AI. Okay then, that clears it up. She discovers that we're definitely in the core of this artificial planet, but there's no ship named Infinity here. Instead, there's some kind of relay that's amplifying the signal. They decide to try and use it to respond, but there's a problem.
Those beams coming off it are creating the interference we've been experiencing. We'd have to take them out to contact Infinity.
Can you get us there?
Opening a gate to the first beam pylon. Pull me, and let's go.
May I just say, I have a bad feeling about this. Those beams look awfully deliberate, like maybe there's a good reason they're there. I'm not so sure messing with them when we don't really know that much about them is such a good idea. Still, you hop in the portal. It brings you to a spot where you get to walk for a bit while Cortana plays Space Invaders.
Mind hoofing it a little.
And on your way to it, you meet these things. That thing they're using is called a bolt shot. I decided to try one. That was odd. This thing apparently fires lethal bolts of some kind. So it's the plasma cutter from Dead Space, a tool that's been turned into a weapon, I guess. I don't actually know. What's it do?
Look out! Well, he's just a ray of sunshine, isn't he?
Moving on. By the time the stupid thing actually fires, the enemy has killed you to death. What good is it? And you get this thing by picking it up off a dead enemy, but it works totally different when they shoot it. What's going on here?
I'll tell you. I don't know.
Turns out I was holding the trigger instead of just firing with it. So it's not the plasma cutter, it's a plasma pistol with the overcharge feature. Gee, that's original. Cortana learns that the big things are called Promethean warriors. The little ones are called... who knows? She doesn't tell us. What's their function? She can't quite figure that out so far. So let's keep going. The plan is still to take down those beams and try to use that satellite thing in the center of the planet to contact Infinity and hopefully get out of here. You reach the pylon, but there's a shield around it. So you have to take down 3 energy generators before you can do anything else. Once you do, you shut down the beam and head for the second pylon.
I was wondering why Infinity hadn't encountered the Covenant yet.
What are they doing here?
They're heading to the second pylon as well.
That can't be a coincidence.
Question. What is the deal with the Forerunners and pylons, especially gigantic ones that look like engineering impossibilities? They were all over Halo, they were all over the Ark, they're all over this place. Makes you wonder if the guys who ran the building projects were a little insecure? The Prometheans aren't crazy about the Covenant being there either. You stumble into a battle between the two factions with one Sentinel thrown in for good measure, I guess. Of course, they're all willing to pause and shoot you to pieces, so basically we have a free-for-all going here. Along the way, we saw several things. For one, this game is way beyond stingy with ammo. There's never enough, and the variety of weapons doesn't make up for it. Your best bet is to be a much better shot than I am. You also can't backtrack through a door. Wait a minute. What? But the worst thing about these Prometheans is, they have these flying whatchamadoodles that not only restore their health, but form shields to protect them when you shoot at them. So when you run into a bunch of them, a good strategy is to take out the air support first. Like that. You make your way to the communications relay and try to contact Infinity, but something unexpected happens.
Chief? Chief, let go of the contacts.
Find us an exit.
Don't wait around on my account.
What was Tony Stark doing in that thing?
So fades the great harvest of my betrayer. Even these beasts recognize what you were oblivious to, human. Your nobility has blinded you, as ever.
Come closer so you can catch all of this upcoming exposition.
The librarian left little to chance, didn't she? Turning my own guardians, my own world, against me. But what hubris to believe she could protect her pets from me forever. If you haven't mastered even these primitives, then man has not attained the mantle. Your ascendance may yet be prevented. Time was your ally, human. But now it has abandoned you. The Forerunners have returned.
Wait a minute. The Forerunners called themselves Forerunners? Forerunners of what? Presumably when they were around, they were the Now. Why would they give themselves such a strange name? But we have bigger problems at the moment. This guy is a super powerful criminal of some kind, and his own kind imprisoned him to keep him out of trouble. So, he's this guy.
What does God need with a starship?
Bring the ship closer.
Or maybe he's this guy. Or he could be this guy. But we're seriously going there. So far, I haven't seen a single original idea in this game. I can't help wondering why a Halo game is so eager to take the lazy route. On we go.
Slip space rupture! Chief, move!
Well, this isn't good.
What's happening?
Moving the satellite into destabilize the core. The Didact's leaving. We've got to find a portal out of here before the whole network collapses.
At least one thing has improved. Check out the subtitles.
Grab one of those ghosts.
Egad, I can read this. Somebody really blew that.
Keep going. Keep going. Chief, what are you doing?
Okay, this is ridiculous. First, I can't see where I'm going most of the time, and the path is about as clearly marked as a blank wall. Then all this stuff shoots up in front of me, the ground drops out, and I have to make crazy jumps. Am I at the end of the game already? To make matters worse, Cortana drained your shield to increase the ghost's speed, so every little pebble and bump takes your health. Maybe we should back off and be a little protected? But no, you fight your way through tons of the same stuff and get to a safe place. Now, Cortana said the core of the whole planet was about to explode, so I'm guessing that safe is a relative term, but at least you can talk to the Infinity now.
Mayday, Mayday! This is the captain of the UNSC Infinity. Unknown entity has seized control of our ship. We're without power. We're on a collision course with an unidentified Forerunner planet.
Or not. Say it with me, now it's a rescue mission. You have to find that ship, save all the Marines, and get the heck out of here for real this time. Unfortunately, that guy you just released, known as the Didact, is heading for the same place, so let's get going. First, you spend some time just doing this.
Better run through the jungle. Better run through the jungle. Better run through the jungle. Oh, don't, baby.
You hear some communications from Infinity trying to find someone named Lasky, who apparently was leading some Pelicans. You come upon some dead Marines, but none of them is Lasky. So we still need to find and rescue him. Further on, you meet a Promethean recon team and take him out.
Hold up. What was that he dropped on the ground over there?
He who over where? Promethean vision. Why not? So what's it do? Ooh, I like it! So far, I hadn't done much of anything with the gadgets in this game. I think I'm going to get some mileage out of this one. You fight on until you come to a downed ship. Inside, you find Lasky, who's the first officer of the Infinity. He and his team are stranded here with no cover and no way back. Meanwhile, Captain Del Rio of the Infinity doesn't seem to care about that. He just orders everybody back to the mothership. In the course of the scene, we learn a little more about Captain Del Rio.
You were sent on a scouting run in the middle of an attack on the ship.
The captain thought Infinity could provide us cover and hold off the attack at the same time.
Clearly, he thought wrong. In the middle of an attack by Covenant forces and another unknown force, he sends out a recon team to find the coordinates of the gravity well. Why? What's he planning to do with them? Maybe we'll get the chance to ask him. Lasky asks you to help clear a landing zone so we can evacuate the wounded. Yeah, we can do that. Along the way, you hear about some more Marines who are pinned down, so you go to help. As you get to them, you find this.
These doors open into a cave system with a space large enough for an LZ. Hold them off long enough for me to open the doors!
Cortana is nothing but a little glowing ball now? While Cortana's taking care of that, you get to use this nifty turret to hold off the bad guys. Cortana's also turning into a bit of a smartass.
Cortana, how close are we?
She actually apologizes for it later, but really, I kind of like it. Eventually, she does get the door open. It took me a while to figure out what I'm looking at in these new enemies. Let's see. We have little guys with a pistol of sorts who go out in front and serve as cannon fodder, while a much larger alien with an energy shield stands back and directs them until it's time to get into the fight himself.
They're in standard formation. Little bastards up front, big ones in back.
This is nothing but the Covenant with a new coat of paint. Those little bug things are the grunts, and their bolt shots are the equivalent of the plasma pistol. The Knights are the elites, who are bigger, tougher, and command the bugs, whatever those things are. When I heard we had new aliens, I was really hoping for something more than that. Notice something else. Every time you start a new level, no matter where you are and what you've been using, your weapons get reset to the assault rifle and something else, usually the pistol. In this case, it was the battle rifle, but that's the first time that's happened. I had some really nifty Promethean weapons, and literally in the space of 2 steps, the game took them away from me and started me over. Not cool. For some reason, I'm seeing a lot of influence from other games in this one. This reminds me of Half-Life stuff, which is irritating because the Halo games have always been a lot better and a lot fairer to the player than that. But truthfully, so far, everything about this game screams either, we're fighting a deadline and not making it, or, we're too lazy to do this well, but it's Halo, so folks will forgive us. Neither is acceptable. I don't know which it is, but Remember Fear 3? Its release date got pushed back again and again and again. Why? Because it looked like this. It wasn't ready for prime time. They chose to delay release until it was perfect, and frankly, it pretty much is. These guys should have done the same thing. Watch this.
I'm sorry about back there. That hatch of security was more difficult than I expected.
It's all right.
It's not all right. Nothing about it is all right.
Now watch this. That's the exact same spot in the game. I got killed further on and respawned before this. Notice that the second time we got the subtitles but no audio. The game is riddled with glitches like that, and I find it hard to believe that nobody caught them. I've worked as a game tester, and this is the stuff they're supposed to look for. But with this game, somebody didn't. And didn't. And didn't. The battle to clear the LZ is actually a lot of fun, partly because there's ways to sneak around and catch enemies looking, partly because we discovered that the Prometheans and the Covenant are working together now, but mostly it's because we get to use this railgun. Not bad. Unfortunately, like the rest of the game, there's never enough ammunition, and I was forever trying to scavenge a weapon that actually had something in it. It stinks. It's bad design. It's not just because I'm an incredibly lousy shot. It can't all be my fault. And look at all these bad guys all descending on me at once. And I'm playing this on easy. What are the other modes like? I probably don't want to know, but I'll probably find out because I can't help myself. Eventually, I'll have to give it a try. I think it's genetic. At least that's my story until a better one comes along. Once the LZ is clear, you catch a ride in a Pelican to the next area. Here, we're reunited with an old friend.
We're good to go, Chief. Let's show these Spartans how it's done.
Come again? What Spartans? Did you perhaps mean Marines? Looks like nobody caught that one either. the updated look. And of course, it's as awesome as ever. As we reach the end of the tank sequence, we get some bad news.
Sir, what's our status?
That satellite took down the ship's defenses and is extracting data from the ship's mainframes as we speak.
Can we break the connection?
Main point of contact's on the ship's upper hull. The fastest route is through the maintenance causeway.
So we have to abandon the tank and head to the outer hull. The Covenant have put some jamming devices out there that are keeping the ship's defenses from working. Your job is to render them obsolete.
There's a Mantis docked inside the door. Take it. You'll need the extra firepower.
What's a Mantis? Oh, that's a Mantis! Well, let's give it a try! Heavy shielding, rockets, nice spin-up minigun. This is the powered armor from Fear. This is starting to look less like a new game and more like a greatest hits clip show. But for now, we just go with it. Let's see what the Mantis can do, starting with that jammed door. Okay, let's head outside. I hope this thing has magnetic feet. So everybody has magnetic shoes? Or does this thing generate its own gravity? Or somebody didn't think about that part before they made the game. So you clear out those jammers and the gun turrets come up. Now you're supposed to defend them. Shouldn't they defend themselves? From what? And with what? About that time, a bunch of Covenant come in, and of course, something in the big guns is jammed, so you have to unjam it. The big boys take over from there, and we head back inside. We get a quick briefing on what Del Rio and his ship are doing here, and then...
Sir, Gypsy Company is prepped and ready to roll on your orders.
Thank you, Palmer. Mr. Lasky, you take point. I want boots on the ground in 60.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Captain.
This is a first contact scenario, Master Chief. Priority is to free Infinity from Requiem's gravity well and file a threat assessment back at FleetCom.
Apparently, counting beans is more important than stopping a galactic threat.
You mean relieving?
Sir, Infinity drove the Didact back. He's vulnerable.
He isn't the only one.
It's hard not to think that. He's acting scared. I can appreciate caution when you're not in the best of shape, but this sounds an awful lot like running away.
You know, I think you, of all people, would appreciate the benefit of living to fight another day.
His idea is to take out the particle cannons that protect the gravity well itself and then take the well. What he intends to do with it, I'm really not clear on that part. But it's even worse.
Captain, what's Force Recon's assessment of the terrain?
I know you've been off the field for a while, Master Chief, but this is a blow-through op. Sending in recon would just slow us down. Telemetry indicates the particle cannons are being controlled from a command post southwest of our position. Roll on that target and neutralize those guns. We'll meet on the other side and take the gravity well. Infinity out.
I don't know about you, but I usually like a little more intel with my intel.
I'm with you. He's sending his people into a totally unknown situation, no idea what kind of cover there is, how strong the enemy is. If you follow what this guy's been saying so far, then like me, you might be wondering who he banged to get the captain's chair, because he really doesn't seem to know what he's doing. Basically, he's sending you into a choke point with no information about what's there. So off you go to the Mammoth. The what?
Well, someone's overcompensating.
Oh, that. Well, let's go.